So, good morning, everybody. For those of you that have been on here before, welcome back. For those of you that are new, I'd just like to say welcome to our new introduction to our new SmartMister range. So I'll just do a couple of introductions first, and I'll explain to you how it's going to work, and then we'll go from there. So we've got Stuart, who's running our admin side this morning. So if you've got any questions during Ray's talk to start with, if you want to fire those on chat to Stuart, that'd be great, and I'll try and add those into Ray. And then we've obviously got Ray, who is our Chief Technical Officer. He's in charge of everything that is smart. So the way that we'll work it this morning, again, you will all be muted as normal. Ray will just do a quick brief overview of the SmartMister itself, the Old Faithful, and the benefits of that, and then he will start running you through the two new ranges of the MiniMister. So over to you, Ray.
Okay, well, the SmartMister, as you probably know, is a device that we suck air in through it. We have a HEPA filter, active carbon filter, and we take all the big deposits away, and then we turn the HOCO liquid into gas, and that distributes around an office and sanitizes it to a government standard. So effectively, if you're told that you need to shut down and do a deep clean to reopen, you wheel this in, it turns on at night time, and it sanitizes overnight your premises. And the mist is basically hypochlorous acid, which is a very weak form of acid, the same as we have in our immune system. So it's a natural product. It smells like seaside, that deodorizes and cleans the air, takes pathogens out, settles on the surface. And then we're about to do the same thing as a delivery mechanism. So this will do large offices, and then we're about to introduce a couple of little portable ones with built-in batteries to do things like toilets and do one meeting room or somewhere you don't use much. So a small room kind of thing. And that's it, unless you want to know more, but there's probably more dealers that already know about SmartMister. The only other thing that's different is the new government standards. So the standard for BS 17272 to do automated dispersal of a sanitation product becomes legal. We got it on the 9th of January, but it starts in April. So we've actually got guidelines now of how much of the liquid and sanitation per metre squared should be on the surface officially now.
Okay.
A bit more information.
So the exciting part about this, guys, is obviously we have the ultimate machine, which is the SmartMister that does the deep sanitation overnight. These products are the mini versions are so much better in the fact of they become portable. So they might not necessarily do the deep sanitization that this does, but for things like cars or like Ray mentioned, toilets or taxi firms, ambulances. These can go in, and would they do to the same level as what they
won't do the same level. So this won't deliver the same amount as that. This is a proper deep clean. There's two modes in this: baby mode and normal mode, or auto. And the auto is an official deep clean. So what you need to do to sanitize. And then the other one is like a daily repeat. This is a small space, so it will only do sort of a space of about 4 people. So your desk and the end of a desk, or a small room like a toilet. So it won't do a really big office like that sort of thing. It'll literally only go for 4 meters round about it, so a 16 meter cubed box. So this is like, keeps it top or just sanitizes your small area, but it's not, it's the same liquid, the same sanitation as this, but not the same coverage. This only does a smaller area. It gives out a lighter mist so that you can be, in the room, and it's only doing a small area around about you. And the same with the car one. So that one just fits in a cup holder, and this one actually gives out less than this. And this one's designed to give out just enough to fill a cabin with about 5 people in it.
But I'm presuming this one, as in the same way as with the SmartMister, it almost would stop the idea of needing to do a deep clean in certain places. So if, for example, someone's running a taxi firm or maybe an ambulance, I'm presuming that actually you could put this in and it would save having to, wipe down all the surfaces.
Yeah, one of the places that we've tested this in was taxis were basically having to wipe down the inside of the cab after every person's journey before they take the next people in. And then what they've done with this is that they've used this to sanitize the inside of a taxi, and then they do a very light wipe round, so they're just wiping off this. And they've done a swab test to try it, but that's enough to save them boxes of wipes every day and all the mess and the time. So they've gone from taking about 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes to wipe down their taxi down into like 3 minutes. So they can do more people.
And literally that idea of actually, again, you know, as we keep reiterating with the SmartMister itself, it's that feeling of feeling secure and feeling safe. I know a lot of places would, you know, benefit from the idea of knowing that actually the customers feel safe when they're coming back into that environment.
Yeah, and we've got a chap in the warehouse here, and if I was to run this one in the downstairs toilet and forget to turn it off, so this only needs to run for about 15 minutes and then turn it off for about half an hour. But if I walk away and leave it on for 14 hours, the mist can build up. And he's asthmatic, so he thinks it's like, oh, what's this when he first walks in? But he's taken one of those in his car, and he's been traveling backwards and forwards for 30 to 40 minutes going home, and he didn't even notice it was on as he put it. But he's ended up taking this into his house because he liked the smell in his car next day, so he's put it in his bedroom, and then he's commented that there's no dust in his bedroom anymore. It's basically taking everything out there. So the asthmatic guy has turned this into something that he's using to clean his room to get rid of all the pathogens.
So again, these are all at different levels though. So obviously the car version that we call it isn't actually giving out quite as much as what the actual portable version is. So realistically, the portable version is the one that you would try to use.
The portable one will do you sitting on a desk or a desk with people running about you or in a minibus or something like that. Or if you want, you could put that into your taxi when there's nobody in it. But I wouldn't go
really. That would be good as well, Ray. For example, I mean, the days, obviously, we all do a lot of Zoom meetings nowadays, but I actually used to be out on the road pretty much full time, and that was one of my favourite things to do. And I have to say, I can't wait to get back out on the road. If, for example, I went to see a customer and we were having a meeting, could we put this in there and be quite comfortable with it?
Yeah, it would need to be on about 3 minutes before you sat down at your desk together, so that it's had time to dissipate around. But yes, if you put that in the room, in a meeting room, we've got a building up, it's a bit like a Regis building that is going to trial it. And their idea is that you go to reception and you'll hire one of these and take it into different meeting rooms just for that purpose. So they've tried it, and for that side of things, taking it into one room that multiple people do. But just give it a couple of minutes first to do it. We've also got a cleaner that is taking one of these, and when she's going around cleaning people's houses, she's taking this in with a desktop sign that we give you saying the mist is making the staff and customers safe, and an explanation. So she's taking that in, and when she's cleaning people's premises, she's literally dropping that down so that she feels secure right going in, and then the people feel secure as well.
And I think this going forward is really important because, you know, we're expecting an announcement from Boris in the next few weeks about what the plans are for the next stage. Ultimately, obviously, offices are going to need something like the SmartMister, but on a countertop or, you know, when you're talking to somebody, you know, we could have something along these lines running at the same time.
Yeah, this one is quite happy just to sit and run in the background. There's two modes with it. There's one that will be on continuously, and then there's one that comes on and off like it's doing now, so that it just sort of puffs, turns off to keep it topped up.
So these ones don't run on an app in the same way that the SmartMister does. They
actually they're just manual setting. They will turn off automatically after a bit of time, or the very worst, they'll run out of battery. So okay. You get
the great thing with these as well is they are actually quite good advertisement as well for you guys selling more of these products as well, because actually it tells you exactly what it's doing on the actual product itself. It gives you the full instructions on the back of how to use it. Obviously it's chargeable as well with a USB cable. So it and also using the I presume that is that going to go out with every one of these, Ray, the actual signage?
Yeah, so there's a sign with it that basically says these premises are protected. Sorry, the mist that you see. So the mist is protecting staff and customers, kills 90% of harmful germs, pathogens, the BS numbers, etc. And then the dealers, space to put the dealer's phone number and reorder levels, and then some information. So if staff want to read this, this could go on, say, the counter of a fish and chip shop, or it could go on the counter of a cafe or the hairdressers. And then when you go to pay money at the end of it, you can just sit and see the mist coming out and know that that area has been sanitized and any money you're handling has been sanitized. So there's one of these in the cardboard box. Thankfully, there's in the moment this is a temporary box, but inside the box is 5 litres of hot roll, the sign on the sides, and then the actual unit. And that's kind of it. But the sign will help people understand it, and then it definitely makes people go, what's that? And then they feel more secure about it. It really does have that effect.
Right, someone's asked a little question just about the range itself. So if somebody had, say, for example, a 52-seater bus, which product would they use in there to actually make sure that it was sanitized?
You do 56 meters, it'd have to be that one, and then that doesn't run off a battery. Or you'd have to put a few of these in, like put 3 of these in.
Okay.
So it's in the dealer folder, there's a little document, and then it's got how many meters and how many cubic meters and volume meters it will run, and then the technical spec of it at the bottom as well, what's inside it. But it's if you're putting it in a bus, you would need about 3 of these, or you put that in a trolley, zap the place and take it out.
I know obviously we're actually talking about the machines themselves at the moment, and I know most of you have actually been on these meetings before, but I suppose what we do need to reiterate for anybody that's new and anybody that's kind of just as a reminder is actually what the product does and how effective it is and what it kills. So as far as obviously the new variants, COVID itself and etc., what will this product kill and what will it do? The SmartMister, the Mini-Mister range.
So this is what we have in our immune system that is evolved to kill all pathogens that are harmful to mammals. So basically we just bottled it and made it last a long time. It's encapsulated in salt water. So it's a liquid that kills viruses, pathogens, bacteria that are harmful to humans. And it'll kill all of them, even the ones we don't know about yet. So if your immune system can kill it long term, this can as well. It basically surrounds the invading organism and puts a crust around it, starves it with oxygen, and then eats the ATP life force of the invasion. So it's an A blood cell. So when people talk about your A blood cells doing the work, that's what this is. This is what we've got in our A blood cells. It's been used in the food industry for many years. It was invented in the First World War, but it was really expensive to make then for cleaning open wounds. It's in the food industry, it's put on things like cheese and apples to stop them from rotting. So if they're next to other fruits, you don't get bacteria eating away at them. And it kills coronavirus, Corona 21, Corona 19, SARS virus, it kills novavirus, all these sort of things. And having it in the air.
That going forward, going forward, these are the things that it's not just talking about COVID. Going forward, people are going to start coming back to work. People are going to start going back out. All these other things that are out there, flus that no one's had for however long because they've not seen anybody, norovirus, all those types of things. This will kill as well.
It will, and it used to be really expensive, and now it's an affordable price. It's getting used everywhere. If you look at some of the documentation in the dealer folder, there's a link to a YouTube video that basically explains what the liquid does, how it works, what it's good at, what it's bad at, where it gets used. It's a really good video, and then you can follow links to like NHS things and how it's used for open wounds and how they use it to sanitize skin. In Australia, it's used with nebulizers to go into your lungs to stop cancer. It kills invading organisms, so it's pretty good stuff. And basically, all you're doing is you're buying 5 litres of the liquid, you're pouring that in there, or in this case, you're lifting the lid and pouring it in there, closing the lid, and then it won't spill. Yeah.
Quite a straightforward process. I think we've got some of the 4 billion gallon litres at our place that I was trying to pour into that the other day. Did get your muscles out for that one, that's for sure.
Yeah, you've got to use there's a little hose ending that has a tap. You put it on the top and then use that. So if you look, use a little cap on it with a thing as if you're pouring your wine.
Okay.
That makes it much easier. That makes it much easier to do that. I'm spilling things. Okay. But yeah, it's safe for humans. It's sold in Boots the Chemist for £94 as a skincare product as well. It's sold in America as skincare and antifungal medicines. In China, they use it for weight loss. It has lots and lots of different uses.
So standards-wise, at the moment, we're doing a lot of work, aren't we, to get to a certain standard that's coming in very soon?
Yeah, on this one, there's like 14 international standards. We kind of go for 3 in particular of the British and European standards because they're all to do with guaranteed to kill viruses, etc. So we've done all the tests for that. So the liquid comes with an awful lot of standards on its own. And then there's a brand new standard that starts in April, and we're putting these devices and a couple of other things through that standard as well. And it should be, if we get done in time, the first in the country is an automated delivery system of an antiseptic. So it's something that will basically kill all the bad stuff.
So what's that standard that we're aiming to get to by using the SmartMister?
BS 17272. So if you look at it, but it's in the dealer folder. So if you want to read it, it's actually in the dealer folder. But it's 17272. But the document itself and how to do the experiments and how it's tested for. This we have to get live virus cultures to test upon. So it's taking time to actually get a lab, an independent lab to do that because they're all busy at the minute. But yeah, 17272 is a brand new standard. We got it on the 9th of January. We're one of the beta testers for it, and it becomes official in April. So from then onwards, you actually have an automated delivery system. And that's going to get written into things like the well-being standard that comes out in September. So if your building occupies more than 16 people, you'll have to prove the air quality and have to prove other.
And this is quite a big thing, isn't it, Ray? Because it's something that we've been working on for over a year now. There's a lot of different companies and different types of things that are out there that are saying that they can do certain things. Well, actually, can they prove it? Whereas actually we can. And, we're still aiming for different standards that haven't even come in yet.
No, and that new standard is actually really good. Someone's actually thought it through. So you'll be able to use that in theatres and you'll be able to use it in multiple occupant places. So someone's actually put some thought into what do we need to do with it. It's not an easy standard to actually reach, but because it's quite precise in how you deliver things and do things. But we've got some spreadsheets of data recording and how quickly it kills pathogens, and we've got sensors in some like an Innovate UK project, etc., that we're recording everything from particle sizes, CO2s, pathogens, many different things. And we've been doing that since May, really. We started in April, but May. So we've got reasonable amounts of data. We can't publish all that yet because the Innovate program hasn't finished yet. But we've been working on the standard for a while.
Cool. So these are obviously a range of products that we're putting out there, but it never deflates away from the fact that this is ultimately the machine that you need to start with, and then you can work around these ones.
Yeah, if you go to a school and a school is, say, the track and trace database, it comes up and says that you can't go into school that day because they need to do a deep clean. So we've got little stickers that you've probably seen before that you can link to a track and trace database. You do a swab test. So you take one of these sort of things like the NHS to swab it and then record it. So normally what would happen is that they're told if they close down, do a deep clean before they open up. And that means that it can be closed down for roughly about 3 days if they can find someone to do it. This you can wheel in, run it for 20 minutes in the classroom, stay out of the classroom for 20 minutes, and then do a swab test, and submit it to the database, and then open up an hour later. So you can be open within an hour on this. And then these will basically help you keep it topped up in that area, and then prove that you're keeping somewhere sanitized. So you can do little recording labels on these and say, this meeting room was sanitized with this on this date, and keep up information on it.
Just on obviously usage, I'm presuming with the smaller ones, the SmartMister solution will last longer. How will that work?
Well, it's doing less distance, so there's less liquid. This delivers 420 millilitres per hour, and this, in the mode we're using it at, will deliver 20 or 40 millilitres per hour, and this will do 10 millilitres per hour. So okay. Yes, much less liquid.
Could we? I know on the big one, we say that if you use it for an hour a day, it will last a month. Is there any way of deducing that with the other ones, or?
I broke it down into minutes on the instructions, so I can tell you how many minutes it lasts. It will cover 925, I've forgotten, meters squared in total. Yeah. So if you keep filling up out of 5 litres, 924 millilitres, and I broke it down into how many hours that it will, that will run for.
Okay.
But it's impossible to tell how you're going to use this because people carry it around in all scenarios. All I can say is how many minutes that the liquid will last in mode 1 and how many minutes it lasts in mode 2, and how many meters squared it will cover in the total amount of 5 litres.
So that is on the sheet as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, fab. Which obviously everyone will get afterwards. As per the usual SmartMister webinars, we'll make sure that we send across the YouTube link along with all the Q&As from today and the flyers on the products themselves. I think you've mentioned this already, Ray, but just to reiterate on what settings are there on this? There's no such thing as a timer, is there?
So there's the setting on the back of it. Yeah, tiny little instructions, but it's press once for first mode, press twice to give you the half mode to puff mode, hold down to turn off. That's it. And it's basically just plug in a USB charger, a little symbol to charge it back up.
Okay.
And then that's a battery level indicator that's showing you how much battery you've got left. So if you turn on.
So I think you can press that as well, which I quite like, is when it all lights up.
Yeah, but then the battery won't last as long.
Oh, right, okay.
So yeah, if you hold it down for a long one, you get a light as well, which is quite handy to find it if it's in a bus or somewhere like that.
Yeah, exactly. If you wanted to take it, it's like a candle in the night, I suppose.
In the time that I've recorded is including someone accidentally putting the light on as well. So if you don't put the light on, the battery will last slightly longer.
Right. Okay, understood. Someone's asked a question, RE availability, so I'll just answer that one briefly, and I'll also answer a question on, no one's asked this yet, but on pricing. The way that we do these videos, and I noticed no one's asked it, which is great, is we don't give out any prices on here. If you could just refer that back to your account manager, who will send you some pricing on, but also, as I said, you will receive the price list straight after probably within a few hours after the webinar, just to show you what the kind of pricing is on these. As far as availability is concerned, as previously with the initial SmartMister, I don't think we realised how popular everything was going to be. The portable one and the car one, I haven't got the car one here, hence the reason why I haven't got the car one here, have absolutely become ridiculously popular. The car one, we got our first shipment in and it sold out within a day, and that was over 1,000 units. The portable one, we ordered in double the amount of the car one, and we still have plenty of these available now. So the portable one, to be fair, is the one that I personally think is the most effective for the people that everyone should be speaking to at the moment. You know, obviously the car one is handy for people to have in the cars, but actually, you know, this one actually gives out more and will sanitize a bigger space.
Yeah. Right? So then I'll get back more of those stocks soon. And the only thing is that it's coming in a plain cardboard box at the moment because the boxes don't arrive for another few weeks. So it's packed in a box. We now, the first ones I shipped out, I was just putting things in to fill the boxes up, but these ones are actually packed properly inside. So we've got one of these, one of them, SmartMister Mini in a box, and I might end up doing a little sheet with instructions, but you know, for me it's just press 3 things, so I didn't think there was many instructions. But
yeah, well, like we say, I mean, the instructions are pretty much on there, and I think the great thing about this one, which I really like, is it says everything that it does on there. Yeah. And if it is on a shop shelf or you know, in a taxi firm, they are going to read what it's doing and what it's helping with.
Yeah, I mean, basically what it says is, does it kill coronavirus? Answer. Is it safe? Answer. Why use Hopro? Hazard information, just in case anybody asks, you know, will I be allergic to chlorine? Will I be allergic to salt? Be allergic to something? And then the regulations, and then an organic symbol. And in the front just tells you that it's killing the viruses, non-toxic, it deodorizes. It's basic information. So it's, you know, it just says that what it is it killing viruses? Is it safe? How do you find out more information about it?
Okay. I'll just go on to the packaging again, Ray. If you could just get the box out. I wouldn't mind some feedback from you guys on this. Obviously, the biggest problem, which is a good problem to have with anything that we do as far as the smart range is concerned, is everybody wants it now. Now, when we originally launched the SmartMister, because everybody wanted it now, you know, we'd got packaging already planned in place, but actually it ended up coming out almost a little bit too soon. So what we want to make sure is that actually the 2 mini products do come in the packaging that you would like to see. So what we've got at the moment is an outer box that comes with a bottle of the SmartMister solution in there. The document, well, the actual desktop document that shows
the signage.
Yeah, the signage, and then the SmartMister Mini. Now we are waiting for a box for the actual unit itself to come in there, but at the moment, as we all know, with what's happening with the EU, which we've all, I think, forgotten about, that Brexit actually happened, we are waiting for some packaging to come through on that, so there may be a little bit of a delay on that. So if you're okay with it as it is, then the portable version is ready to go now. If you want the portable version with it in its own little box as well as inside there, then you will have to wait a little bit longer for that. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Now, I think what we will do is we will open it up, but there are a lot of people on this morning. So what I will say is, please bear in mind that if you could just put a hand up or something like that, and Stuart will just let you ask the question. I'm sorry, it's a bit school-like, but because there's so many of you on, I don't want it to be too shouty. Okay, lovely. Stuart, if we could open it up for Ray.
Everybody has been asked to unmute if they want to.
Okay, so would anyone like to ask a question?
A quiet lot. Go on, ask me a question, someone. There's enough, a lot of you, so somebody else want to, but know something.
Morning.
Hello.
Yeah. How do these work then when you've got multiple office rooms? Obviously, the large one, would it just literally doors are left open overnight, or would you need to transfer them round to each room?
So the large one, the mist that it gives out is it's only 6 microns thick. So basically it's lighter than air. So anywhere that air gets in, if you're behind the fire door and you get trapped in a room, it still has to get air in, otherwise the person will suffocate. So it will still get through some doors, but not all doors. And the big one gets everywhere. That really does saturate a really big room. The little ones won't. The little ones will only go about sort of 4 meters either side, and only just sort of in a particle meter be at the level of sanitizing the air and a little bit surface. So
Okay, so just when you mentioned like with schools, and you were saying like a deep clean in a school,
yeah, that one. Yep.
they would literally just need the one, leave all classroom doors open, and it's.
Yeah, so we're doing a test at the moment from Innovate thing, and that's 4 classrooms with no technology, 4 classrooms with technology to remove pathogens from the air and lots of other things. And they'll wheel that in on a trolley. So they'll go into classroom 1 on a trolley, turn it on for 15 minutes, and then wheel it out to classroom number 2 when that's not occupied, in classroom number 3, 4, and do it that way.
Okay.
They can run it at night time.
Yeah, I think as well, if you haven't been on one of these Q&As before, what we do have as well is a particle sensor that when you put the SmartMister in one room, we can start actually moving around and see where the actual the SmartMister solution has got to as well, haven't we, Ray? So could you show everyone that? That should be on the price list as well.
Yeah, we've got a little tool that you can basically switch it on. If this number reads above 47, then the air has been sanitized in real time to a government regulation 13704. So there's a little data sheet on it, and then a thing about how it sanitizes your skin, etc., and how it works. But if that basically goes 47, you can tell that it's got to an area. So you can put this at the end of your desk, and then put this at the other end of the room and go, yeah, it's working. Or on a big SmartMister, you can put it away at the end of the corridor and then walk around with this and go, yes, it's reaching this area. If that goes above 144, it's in a deep clean. And then you can basically work out how long you need to leave this on, to be exact.
So if we're talking about schools, Ray, just to get, I mean, and I know I'm probably going to repeat something here for those of you that have been on before, but just to reiterate on the SmartMister itself, the big SmartMister, this can be used rather than something like fogging. So instead of having to take everything out, go in, fog a room and come back out, wipe everything down, what would the SmartMister do instead?
It'll achieve the same goal, but technically actually better, because it will reach inside light fittings and everywhere that the fog doesn't. But it's also silly cheaper. Fogging is quite an expensive thing, and it's not done to any proper regulation. It's just the best we can do. And the fogging of that takes time to do, and then you have to dry it off and clean it all off. So you're shut for days, where this you can literally do and be finished within under 1 hour. So this is an automated way that a human being doesn't have to run around with an electrostatic gun and basically fog all of the surfaces around about you, and doesn't have to wear PPE equipment, and doesn't have to take vulnerable things like precious books out of the room and some computers, doesn't have to tape up computer power supplies. You can just put this in, it's a dry solution, and away it goes. And it's, if I turn this thing on, fogging is wet, but if I've got something shiny, so if you can see the fog coming out of the mist coming out of that, if I put something shiny on there, I don't know if you're going to see this, but it's dry. Yeah, there's no wetness to this at all. My glasses, etc., all dry, so it doesn't damage things like other wet solutions do. So it's better than fogging that way. Fogging still has its place, but this is an automated, inexpensive way of doing it.
And the great thing about this as well is it can be proven. So we've obviously got the particle sensor where we can, you know, go around and show where the solution's getting to. But actually, we do the swab version that is tested to scientific level to prove that actually the surfaces are all clean.
And just turning the SmartMister big one on for seconds, that went away up to 500 and something.
Yeah.
And that was only on for seconds. So that one is a proper deep cleaning of the place. You know, it's dropping down now because it's all settling on the surfaces, but this one is still running in the background, topping up.
So on the bigger one, what square meterage coverage is that?
It has two modes, so it's 110 in square meters. It will do 110, but to do the standard is now from 9th of January 81 square meters on the international standard. It's on the instructions there, but it's at the low end it's 14. So the smallest it'll do is 14, and the biggest it'll do is 81 square meters. But that's like 243 cubic meters of volume. So it would do more if you left it on longer. So if you need to do, say, 300, which is kind of its maximum without it leaving salt deposits, then it will do larger. But delivered in 1 hour to the standard, 81 square meters in bad conditions. So that's presuming the weather's not good and there's open windows and there's different furnishings and different ceiling heights and lots of other things. 110 meters squared, if not in a bad condition.
And I think again, just to reiterate, this is a really, really important range of products that we've worked on for a long time for you guys, for the dealers, to try and help you in a time when it's been a bit of a difficult time with as far as print's concerned. You know, what we're trying to do more than anything is find business machines that you guys can go out there and sell to your customers, but also keep them safe ultimately. I know that one of our sales guys has been working really hard with a couple of leasing companies who have now both approved putting SmartMister through on a leasing contract as well. So again, if you want to get in touch with your account manager about that, and they'll be able to let you know which leasing companies those are. But yeah.
Any other questions?
Ray, just one question. I've got quite a few dental practices, okay, and I think some of them are using fogging machines, okay, and I'm not sure what others are doing. I know they have to clean the rooms and leave the rooms before the next patient. How would these work in that sort of environment?
There's been one company supplying to misting and fogging machines into dentist practice, specialising that for about 2 years now, and they've done all the international standards and all the rest of it. It works perfectly. Last year, until 9th of January, we couldn't officially put that into a dentist unless, if it was an NHS dentist, only if it was a private one. But from 9th of January this year onwards, we can, and it works perfectly. Dentists already use, the only problem you'll get in a dentist, that dentists buy this already, but they buy 5 litres for about £80, and they put it in the mouthwash to rinse out, and they put it in the water line so that when they're cleaning out your mouth with the saline solution, they're used to buying this. So when they read the back of the labels, they're going to realise that it's the same thing they've already got, and they're already using specialised equipment. They have a version that has a warm mist of these kind of things in a little chamber that sterilises surgical equipment. So they're already used to buying it, they're happy with it. And the great thing with these, the fogging solutions will do inside dental practice but don't do reception, whereas these will do reception and people waiting, which is actually probably more important. So yeah, dentists.
Well, and to feel safe, because I think at the moment there's so much going on as far as all these alcohol hand gels and alcohol this and that these are the things that kill stuff. Well, actually, you can feel quite safe around the fact that you know, your apple's going to be safe to come back to in the morning, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you don't need to use alcoholic gels anymore with these, because right now this is sanitizing all my skin. My skin, after about 3 minutes in the room with this, will start to feel soft, because the 6 microns salt particles will actually start to fit inside the dermis, the 7th layer of your skin. So it will sanitize all your skin just being in the room with it. You just don't need alcoholic gels anymore.
So going back to these ones, obviously, and the same with the big one and the 2 little ones, they're also quite good for deodorizing as well. So not only will they keep safe while you're in the bathroom or a lift or a taxi or a car, it will also deodorize the area as well.
It does. It kills the bacteria. So inside, taking an extreme thing, if you put this into a gym, which is lots of sweaty people and sweaty feet, that causes a bacteria to grow that creates a smell, and this will. To be honest,
taxis are quite a good example.
So that'll kill it instantly. If you take, say, body odor, that's a gas that comes out from people. It neutralizes that in seconds. And if you take the smell of someone just being in the toilet, say too many curries, it removes that smell after about 6 minutes. Okay. So it's really good. It leaves so it doesn't mask the smell with another smell. It actually eats the fungus that's causing the smell, and so it's not there anymore. So it doesn't mask it up with a prettier smell, like putting rose oil in or something. It literally eats the thing that's making the smell, and that ends up in your carpet dead and inert, and just vacuum it away. So it smells good. On its own, people think when they come into the premises next morning, it smells like you've done a really good clean, and it smells a bit like being at the seaside. So like after a thunderstorm, when the air is clean and the ions are slightly changed. So it smells like that.
So as far as these are concerned, will they affect anything electrical? Are there any other misters? Will you need to turn electrical things off overnight? Or?
So this one definitely won't. This one won't affect electricals, but it does affect opticals. So if I've got, say, a microscope, there's an optical lens. So this is a self-cleaning coating for glass. But if something like a lens for a microscope or a sensor lens that's inside a photocopier, if you have this on too long, it will build up a fine mist on things. And after about 3 months, and you don't use your photocopier, you'll basically have to just brush it off with the cloth. But it won't break any electronics. It's dry, it's non-conductive. It makes fans work better in computers. It's got lots of positive things, but on the negative bits, electronics, it doesn't harm. It's just optical things. It can leave a small film over and change slightly.
I think the one thing that we've noticed since we've now had 2 SmartMisters up north since probably May. August or something. Yeah, May or August, something like last year. And I notice all our team, especially the girls, always often mention how nice the skin feels. Yeah,
it makes a big difference to your skin. It is sold as a medical product for skincare.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, that's not what we're selling it for.
Well, no, exactly, and obviously the amount of things that this actually does do.
So they've now proven that coronavirus mutates and lives in people's hair, and this basically will kill it inside people's hair as well, because it's so fine that it gets right into the grain of your hair.
When you were saying about so obviously when the SmartMister is on, it's an overnight sanitation. So you come into the office and actually all the surfaces are sanitized. So how long, if some bacteria goes on to the solution, or how long will it take to kill it?
To kill it is 1 second. So if it's already on the surface, so if this is misted out, it's landed on the surface, and bacteria touches that, it will die on contact. But if you walk into a dirty premises and it's already on this desktop, it can take up to 1 minute to kill it, and it will persist on the desk for 1 hour even if high touch areas that you're wiping off with your elbows and hands, etc. If you don't remove it, if you never clean your desk, you don't take a microcloth and wipe off the surfaces, because it's a 6 microns, it gets into the grain of wood and it gets in the grain of leather and in the grain, and even wiping it with these, which are 8 microns, it won't take it off. So if you never clean it off, it's 18 hours persistence. And if you do clean it off, it's minimum of 1 hour persistence to get the standard. But in reality, when we've tested it, it's 3 hours. But if you say got a mouse mat and your hands are rubbing against it, you have to prove that in high touch areas, all that rubbing on that area will last 1 hour. So you have to put it 3 hours worth to make it so that people's elbows don't rub it all off, or a cloth doesn't rub it all off.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Any other questions? Just me talking today?
We like listening to you talking, Ray.
No, I don't. I much prefer the questions.
So should we just do a brief overview of what they all do again, just for everyone, so that everyone knows and understands, right? So what is the SmartMister and what does that do?
SmartMister has 2 modes. One, it cleans up it delivers a gas into the air that sanitizes all surfaces. And in the process of doing that, it cleans all the pathogens out of the air as well. And we generally run that overnight. So you come in to clean, sanitize premises in the morning, and then you just take a microfiber cloth and clean it off the desks and vacuum anything up.
So if anywhere's hot desking, anything like that, actually the next day you can know that actually you've come into
all that,
and you're fine.
And then there's 2 modes on it. There's one that does an official deep clean, what we call auto mode, and then there's another one we call baby mode, which actually means small room. And that one is like, if you're doing it every single day, is generally enough to do it. On the negative bits, if you have it on full mode and you leave it under, say, a smoke alarm, because it's so much mist, the smoke alarms can get confused and basically it can set off smoke alarms.
Well, I'd heard that, I know there's a customer of mine that's actually got one in the NHS, and they said that they'd left it on by mistake in their office. Yep. And left it on near the labs for nearly on 3 hours in an office probably the size of this. Unfortunately, in this particular hospital, and I think it's the same in most hospitals, they have actually really good smoke alarms, so it didn't set off any alarms at all. But actually, when they opened it, it was like something out of what was that program tonight, Matthew? Yeah,
that would be a lot of mist. And if you go in that room, you actually, next morning, you feel really hyperactive because it boosts your own personal immune system. So you actually feel full of life and joy.
Well, I was going to say, all the chemists that walked in there did feel very safe because it smells so clean and well. And obviously what the actual product does.
It's just if you leave it on for 3 hours in a small room with no windows opened, it's going to build up a lot of mist. You're going to have trouble to see the computer in front of you. Okay. As part of my testing, I sat in a small room, like only space for one desk, one person's room, taped up the windows and taped up the doors so nothing escaped. And I sat with 2 of these in for 3.5 hours on full mode, working on my computer and breathing it in as part of the testing of it. And it got to a stage where I struggled to see the screen.
Yeah. I think that's the thing, isn't it? We're certainly not saying it's something that because we're saying it's an overnight solution. It's smart. Yeah. But and we're certainly not doctors to say that you should just breathe it in all day. But actually, from our point of view, it's actually been quite nice for the skin, etc. So it is quite good.
So that sanitizes overnight. It makes all your surfaces secure, so you don't have to worry about them. But you can't get that into a toilet. Yeah, and if you take an ATP swab, then you start to worry. I become a bit obsessed with these. And if you run around after people and then you work out if you've got viruses and pathogens and things in toilets, then you want one of those in a toilet. It's like, so you put that on top of the cistern or something and it just covers that area and it makes you feel much better about the person that was in just before you. And then we do a test, you can actually prove it as well. So that will be small rooms that you can take in.
Small rooms, meetings, that type of thing.
Leave running in the background. It doesn't produce enough mist so that it's uncomfortable if you're in there and like your NHS person mentioned, that forgets to turn it off after 3 hours. And you should, there's an app that allows you to basically set timers on it. So on these ones, you would set a timer to say, turn on at 4 in the morning, turn off at 4:30 in the morning, or whatever time schedule that suits you. So you should turn it on for 3 hours. And then these ones are just manual, and it will run out of battery eventually. So going forward, I intend to make these so that they only stay on for 15 minutes and you have to press the button on again to restart them up. I just haven't got the firmware changed in these yet. But when we order our next batch of them, it's one of the things that I'm trying to do.
I mean, and realistically, these are for personal use as well. This one and the car one. You know, my mum is just turned 70 only a couple of weeks ago, and she's also got MS. And one of my biggest fears, obviously, you know, I haven't seen her for a long time. And one of the things that I want to do is to be able to go out with her. And at some point we'll be allowed to do that. But the thought of passing anything on to her, never mind, you know, COVID, is obviously a big deal. So to be able to have something like this that I can put in the car and sanitize the surfaces before she gets in is a really big deal. Yeah. So when you go to meet your mother, you can put that into the reception in the hall, etc. That'll cover a little space around about. It'll work in the car. It will not work outdoors in sunlight. Yeah. Because the UVC will basically destroy this. So it won't work there, but it'll work indoors anyway. Yeah. Okay, so on the car one? The car one is the same as this, but it's just designed to deliver in a smaller space so that you can drive quite comfortably, and it just sanitizes all your space without affecting any instruments or, you know, putting deposits or anything that shouldn't. So the car one is just so that really think about sharing a car with someone, and so you don't have to wear a mask when you're sharing a car. You could put this in beforehand before you get in. More than one person is in the car, and then when the next person is in the car, you know that if they breathe out any pathogens, it's dead. And the new standard actually has an experiment you have to prove that you can kill a pathogen in under 500 millimeters. So that space up to 21 miles an hour. So a person coughing or sneezing it out in 21 miles an hour, you have to prove that it dies. That becomes inert within that space. So it's you know, in sharing a car, no problem. You just basically take one of the little ones that runs on, and then you don't have to worry about getting in and out of it. And it makes the smell of the car nicer as well. Yeah, absolutely. And again, you know, these are all products just for you guys. So if you need to or would like to utilise Ray to do something similar, a webinar for your customers, he is more than happy to do that. Just go back to your account manager and just ask them if you could get in touch with Ray to set up a webinar for you. Obviously, we're not interested in selling to any end users. We're just interested in helping you guys get it out there more than anything else. So that's the range. So we've got the SmartMister now available, the SmartMister Portable, the Mini, and then the SmartMister Car. We will be in the next month launching another range, another part of the range, which is the Smart Air, so the clean air. So that will be coming soon. So this is obviously a nighttime solution. This is something that you can have running while you're during the day. But actually, the new product is something that is actually going to be giving out clean air while people are actually around. Yeah, and we've got a lot of data on that in case studies in big premises. So that one's a daytime with sensors that will screw on the wall and give you spreadsheets and real-time recording of data of air quality and pathogens and lots of other things as well. Okay, cool. Oh, actually, I think Paul's got a question. I think that's a hand up emoji.
Cheers.
Or is that his real hand? I'm not sure. It's very yellow if it is. Can we unmute Paul?
Yeah.
Come on, Paul, ask me a question. You're on camera now. Take your microphone off.
There we go.
Sorry, it wasn't allowing me to unmute. Can you hear me now?
I can, yes.
Right, good, thanks. Two questions. Obviously fairly new to this. The large unit, according to the literature I'd seen, it was referring to mains power, But looking at you moving it around, is it also standalone?
No, it's mains power only. It's just plugged in. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yep. Thanks.
We did do a trolley with a small battery on it that would run it to put it into school. It's mains powered, yeah. It only, if you're using it in a school during the day, it only takes 37 watts of power. So you can have a tiny battery, it'll last for ages. If you're using it at night time, there's a built-in heater, and that heater might turn on to keep to the relative humidity temperature organised. Takes a bit more power, but during the day you can run it on a battery, but it means these two have got a lithium cell in it. That's the 16665. So this has got a battery you can change, and this one doesn't have a battery you can change.
Yeah. Okay. And the other question, just referring to your comment earlier about how it might affect optical devices.
Yeah.
Just made me think computers have optical readers for CD, DVDs. Have you had any negative impact with those?
So we've got a machine, we've got a test machine that's in a room that's running all the time, and there's a DVD writer in that. And after 3 months of not turning it off, which the room is saturated with this, it's not affected it. And I've got another one where I've taken the optical lenses and I've got them positioned in different places to try and see how long it builds up. And it's roughly about 4 months it takes before it starts to build up. But like normal CDs, you can put in a CD cleaner, which is basically a disc with little brushes on it that cleans it off, and that's enough. But so far, and that's only if you have this on too much, if you don't follow the instructions. And so we got someone, so if I say this delivers, I try and say like 80 square meters, but people will do, you can get 300 meters out of it, but they'll leave it on longer. But that means right at that source, there'll be too much mist in the air, and it might leave, or it will leave, a salt deposit, a really fine 6 micron salt. And that's the thing that is an optical. So if you use it correctly, it doesn't build up. And the other thing with a CD-ROM in the optical is it's in a case behind the shield. So it takes a bit of time to get in there. It's not opened.
Yeah, that's fine.
Do you not love the full answer, Paul? That is a proper answer to that question.
Absolutely, yeah.
Anybody else got any questions? No? Nobody else got the hand?
You're quiet lot.
Sorry?
You're quiet lot this week.
Yeah, well, it means that we've pretty much got everything covered. Here we go. For the car model, do you recommend it misting each time someone gets in or out of the taxi? So that doesn't necessarily have to be the car model. Now, it could also be the portable one as far as taxis are concerned, Ray? Yeah,
because they can put it in. So we gave one to Alton cabs that pick people up from the railway station or commuting from London, and they put it in before people arrive, and then when they have to do the clean afterwards, they just put it in and then take it out. So they've not been using it originally when people were travelling, because I gave them that one, and they use it to clean out the cab and deodorize it.
I suppose the thing is, obviously the car one, if you're comfortable with having it in your car, then absolutely that's the way to go. But as a taxi driver, I presume a taxi company would have maybe 10 things that literally they would go out, put in a taxi, 5 minutes while the driver comes back in, grabs a coffee and goes back out again. Yeah,
so in the one that the taxi company I gave, they've been putting it in the car, they get inside having a cup of tea or whatever in their place, and then that's what they clean the car out, and then somebody else is on the journey, and then they give that out to the next taxi driver and give that out to the next taxi driver. So the taxi company's got one of these, and about, I'm not sure how many, but I think it's 6 taxis are actually using the one. They just keep giving it out.
It's just that peace of mind as well, isn't it, Ray?
But they want this one now, so they're actually wanting to order those ones. I just didn't have them in stock when they wanted them. But yeah, so
Just a quick answer, Martin, on the overnight question. I didn't mean actually overnight. So this one goes on. Don't leave it on overnight, please, because you will have what I was talking about the big fogging issue going on. So Ray automatically operates these by the app. So what happens is one of our girls comes into work ridiculously early at about 5 o'clock. So at 3 o'clock this comes on, does what he needs to do, and by 4 o'clock, and then when Pauline gets in at 5, it's done. So it's on for an hour.
In some places, like a school room, it's only on for half an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it depends on the size of the room, but it's. We used to use ours upstairs, really big room, for an hour. But when I ran around with the particle sensor and then I ran around checking it with the swabs afterwards, it turns out for hours to be exact, it's 37 minutes. So we've been leaving it on for 40 minutes now.
And what size is head office?
140 square meters.
Yeah.
So bigger than we got on the manual. It says that it does, but it's an open plan, so there's no obstacles.
But I suppose what's in the instruction manual is to get to regulation standards. That's why that's there.
Yeah.
But when you've actually done the swabbing in our building, then it shows that actually it does get around a much bigger space.
It does, yeah. It really does.
I think there was a question about warranties, and I'm presuming on the little ones, it's is it a year warranty?
1 year. Don't intend to extend it beyond a year.
No.
Because the lithium battery, if people leave it out in their car overnight and it's minus 15 degrees, the battery will start to degrade. It's fine on these things because they're indoors.
So on the SmartMister machine itself, we do a year and then an extended warranty, which will be on the paperwork as well. But on the smaller ones, again,
1 year.
A year. But just a slight side point in the fact that everything is only warranted if you're using a SmartMister solution with the products. So if anything else is put in there, it hasn't been tested to mix with anything else at all. As far as we're concerned, these are the only two products that go together.
Yeah, you can get Hockle solution from some other people, and there's different formulas of it. And we've had to work out how much of the ultrasonic, the frequency, to basically turn it into a gas to get to 6 microns. So internally, we get to 4 microns, it adopts at ER ends at 6. But that took a lot of working out. And if you put in, say, a water diluted product, it won't work. And a lot of people buy it and they buy the concentrated version, diluted with water, and send it to you. It's got lots of impurities in. So that would just basically screw the machine up and you'd never quite know what it's delivering. So this is it. The also thing is, which is unusual, this has a year's shelf life, where most Hockles basically, once you've opened it, you have to use within about 6 days, whereas this can be opened and you can have it opened for a year. It's encapsulated in a saline, and then we break the bond of the saline in this. So it's a stable product, which is quite unusual for Hockle. That's why the NHS use that one, because they can buy it 1 month and use it some other time, unlike some that have to be used there and then as well.
Well, any last questions before we close up? Pretty much all okay. I'll have to say thank you guys for joining us. It's been a really good turnout today. It's good to see some faces from previous sessions. And from myself, Ray, if you'd like to say goodbye, and Stuart, thanks all for joining us. We'll send through, I think it was Stuart that will send through the information with regards to the YouTube channel and also a video from today. On the YouTube channel, it'll have all various videos on there showing today's video and previous webinars, along with a few videos from chiropractors and people that have actually used the products. And yeah, go from there. Well, all right. Thanks ever so much, everybody.
Thank you for your time, everybody.
See you later. Bye.